I'm Susie from Women's Fight News, and today I'm joined by Charlene Lijertwood, who is going to have her first amateur fight next week. So thank you very much for joining me, Charlene.
Thanks for having me.
And how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, I'm good. I'm excited. Training hard, tired because of the training, but yeah, I'm excited, ready for it for next week.
Brilliant. And as you can see, we're here in Llanrumney Boxing Gym. So is this where you train?
Yes, so I joined the club 6 months ago. So I started boxing in lockdown at home and then found a club. So Llanrumney Phoenix have taken me in under their wing, and all the coaches here have been training me. So this is where I'll be fighting from, representing the club next week, and I'm really happy and really proud to do that as well.
Brilliant. So what's it like training? Are they all very supportive? And
Yeah, it's very male dominated. So, you know, coming in as a female, at first it was really nerve-wracking, but Gemma that runs the club is amazing. You know, she made sure I was looked after, all the coaches as well. They've all been really supportive. I get treated like one of the boys. There's no excuses, you know, it's get on with it. You can work just as hard, which is good, and that's what you need. You know, you want to fight, then you've got to put in that effort. So definitely it's been really good. I've been able to train really hard with them all, and be looked after as well though. You know, that safety side, especially with sparring. So initially starting with sparring, I was really nervous, but they looked after me and made sure I was paired up with the right people, and progressively then, you know, the sparring's got harder and more technical and more advanced, so that's been really good.
brilliant. And so you're saying it's very male dominated. Do you find it hard to get female sparring?
Yeah, I think more so as well because of the weight category as well. You know, I'm fighting at 50 kg, so there's not as many female fighters in Wales. I think, you know, if you only got to look on social media, England seems to have far more female fighters available for sparring in different clubs. There's more clubs as well. So in Wales it is a bit more limited. That's not to say that there aren't out there, but it is a bit more limited, especially at my weight category. So yeah, it is more male dominated. But, you know, you learn just as much with the boys. They're happy to share their skills, and sometimes, you know, I've learned so much from each person I've sparred. They've all given me different tips, advice and help, and supported me along the way. So I've learned from them. So it's no excuse, you know, just because there's not females. I'm grafting with the boys, so I'm ready for whatever next week.
And I think people would know one of your sparring partners who's quite famous, who actually trains out of here when he's in Wales, which is Cordina.
The Welsh Wizard, yes. Yeah, I've been really lucky. So obviously, being in Llanrumney Phoenix, he obviously comes back here and gives his time back to the club as well. And, you know, with fights coming up on a Friday, we do extra sessions. We'll do sparring only sessions. He's come in when he's home with his family. He'll come in and do some sessions with us. And it's been really interesting, actually, because he gave me a different insight. And I think it was after one of the sessions here on a Friday night with him, it was that turning point for me with boxing, in the sense of, he said that when he started with Tony Sims as a pro, he thought that he was going to go there and do all these amazing things, but actually he drilled the basics, and they still do that now. You know, they drill the basics so that they learn when you're putting it into the ring then. It was footwork. So just drilling that basic footwork. We did an hour basically of just footwork drills with him, and most people would be like, oh, you didn't get to go in the ring with him, but we drilled those basics for a whole hour. My footwork completely changed after that session. I felt more like I was moving like a boxer. So I've learned so much, and he's helped me with sparring as well. Been amazing with sparring with me. Doesn't let up. Has made sure that I put my guard up, because he's thrown shots at my head. So I've taken shots from the Welsh Wizard, which is amazing. But yeah, he's with all the boys as well. You know, he's been really good in the club to have and to learn from. And then watching him fight, you're like, wow, because you know, he's just so skillful, and he's sharing those skills. So it's, you know, that's what's good about him as well, is he's happy to share those skills with up and coming fighters, male or female, which is lovely.
And I've seen that he's turned up at like sort of events as well to support everyone.
A few weekends ago there was the Box Cup, so me and some of the other guys from the club went to support our boys that were fighting, and then on the Sunday, the finals, Cordina turned up as well, which is lovely, you know, because he's sparred with some of those boys, so he's always happy to go to events and give his time as well.
Brilliant. And next week, so you've got your fight, and it's on Friday.
Yes.
So it's in Cardiff?
Yes, it's in the Portland House down in Cardiff Bay, so really good venue. We've had to change the venue to a bigger venue because so many people want to come and support all the fighters. So, you know, a lot of the younger fighters as well have got big families and they want to come and support. So it's great that for a first event, because they haven't been able to hold one for a few years, that we can get so many people in to go and support as well, which will be lovely.
Brilliant. And do you know who your opponent is?
I've heard very few details. So I know that she's from Cornwall, and that she's a little bit older than me, same weight, and she's first bout as well. So we're both going in with it all to play for, which is great. I don't know anything else about her, and I don't really want to know, because I'll just fight whatever's in front of me. I think you can train as much as you want for an opponent, watch videos, look at social media, but actually on the night you just need to fight what's in front of you. And I think that's the tactic I'm going to go for, is just whatever's put in front of me is fight that.
Definitely. And you're saying you're fighting at 50?
Yeah,
50
50
kilograms?
kg, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be the weight that I fight at. I can't go any lower than 49. I kind of sit at this weight. I don't cut to get to this weight. Much like you probably know, obviously Nicola Hopewell, the boxer, she's another one of the lighter female fighters. Again, obviously you eat clean, you eat right, you're not putting the wrong things in your body, you're fueling your body, but you're not having to cut drastically. So I think the energy levels for me is really good, because obviously being a mum to 2 children, working and obviously training, I think I would find it very difficult on top of all that to then cut as well. So I sit at this weight and have a first fight at this weight. If the fight goes well and I want to continue with fighting, then I may look at increasing my muscle mass and moving up a slight category, but doing it through muscle mass. So, doing more gym work, much like Terry Harper, where she's built her strength and the muscle side of things. So look at doing it that way, but see how next week goes first.
So how excited are you?
I am really excited. Obviously, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not scared, you know. I'm happy to go in and just go for it. I've trained so hard for it. But I am a little bit nervous, more so because it's the first experience of like going into a ring with a crowd. Like here in the club, it's a safe environment. You kind of forget that people watch you in here when they're on the bags and things. Everyone's just doing their own thing when they're training, but it's going to be all eyes on the ring. So that's going to be a new experience, but I think I'm going to use it to fuel me. I've had so much support, so many people that have either bought tickets or online, they've sent me messages of support. So I'm using that to just go, everybody has got this belief in me, so I can also have that belief in me. I've worked hard enough for it, so there's no reason why I can't win that fight next week.
Definitely.
And use that to fuel it. So yeah.
And talking about support, because obviously you've built up quite sort of a lot of following on Instagram, because you've been documenting your journey, sort of your boxing journey and fitness journey.
Yeah.
So how long ago did you start boxing?
I started in the start of lockdown, basically. So the start of lockdown, I suddenly was not able to distract myself with being busy, and I felt that I didn't really know what to do with myself. I was at home, obviously like everybody else, and obviously I've documented on Instagram, I do struggle with my mental health. I'm diagnosed with PTSD, so I always use being busy as a distraction to avoid sitting with my mental health. And I realised actually this is a time where I'm going to have to just sit with it and learn to deal with it and find another coping mechanism. So it was my husband that said, I'll buy you a punch bag for the garden. You can just throw some shots at it. Don't worry about what you're doing. Just enjoy it. Just go out there. Just go and hit the bag for half an hour. I guarantee you'll feel better. Couldn't throw it for half an hour at the beginning. That was far too hard. But I felt instantly lighter, and I think with my PTSD and my mental health, there's always this background noise in my head, my mind's a million miles an hour all the time, but when I'm boxing, it just goes quiet. I just focus on that and I just feel lighter. I suddenly felt like I had this strength and this power, and I was like, I actually really enjoy this. So I started doing more boxing, watching YouTube videos, following people on Instagram. That's when I opened my Instagram. I'd never had Instagram before, wasn't big on social media, using social media, so I set up an Instagram. I thought, right, I'm going to start documenting it, because then it makes me accountable for it. And if I post a video each day of me working out, then I've accounted for it and people can see I'm doing it. And for ages, there wasn't many people watching. But then I think the more boxing videos I started putting up, I started getting people inboxing me advice and tips in a really lovely way, and sending me other videos that I could follow and use. And I started doing more boxing workouts. And then I was like, right, I actually really enjoy this. So I reached out to Steve Robinson, who was the ex-world champ, and we did some pad work when lockdown lifted. And initially I was horrendous. There were many fail videos. And then I started getting quite picking the combos up quickly, and he was like, you've got a natural flair for this, so you should continue with it. And then I realised that if I wanted to fight, I needed to find a gym. So then I looked for a local gym, and obviously Llanrumney Phoenix is local to me. Know of Gemma on social media, and I knew what she stands for. She's all for empowering women. So I knew it would be a safe place to come, because stepping into a gym that's male dominated is really difficult, especially when you've got kind of mental health anxiety and worries. So finding somewhere that I felt safe enough to step into was amazing. And as soon as I stepped into here, I've just been learning and growing and sharing my journey, because I just think, why not? Because if I've had so many people reach out to me on social media that have started boxing since watching my videos, whether it's at home or they've joined a club. I've had ladies that do white collar boxing now, and I'm happy to kind of share my experiences so people know they're not alone. It's not easy. It's not easy. You just come in and you just become a fighter. You've got to learn and you've got to graft, and it does get uncomfortable. There are times when you doubt yourself, and there are times when you just think, am I really right for this? I'm 34, I've got kids, I'm not a pro boxer, I'm not getting paid to do this, but I enjoy it so much that I'm going to continue to do it. And if I can help someone else along the way, and someone else goes, I can resonate with that, and I feel that, I'm too nervous to step into a club, but she's done it, so I can do it, then why not? That is what it's about. It's just about making other people see that they're not alone. So yeah.
And then next week you get to actually step into the ring for the first time. So it's like all this hard work has come to this point where you can sort of enjoy that fight and in front of sort of your friends and family.
Yes, it's like full circle. For me, it's completing the journey. Whether I fight again or whether, whatever happens next week, that's for me. I've put myself to a position where I can get myself in a ring, because I honestly, before lockdown, I wouldn't have even stepped into a boxing ring. I wouldn't have come into a boxing club. I was really worried about what people thought of me, and being in a male-dominated environment. For me, I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. So for me, putting myself around males is something I find difficult. It's not something I find easy now, but I find it easier. And I think being in a boxing gym surrounded by different men, boys of all ages and all backgrounds, and they've all been so open, it's really helped me build up that confidence of being around men again, and trusting that there are other men out there that can look after you and protect you. I've got coaches here like Sean, Clarky, Tony, Steve. They've all looked after me in their own ways. They've all got their own personalities, but they've all kind of taken me under their wing, and become protectors. And that's lovely to see that there are other men out there that do look after women, and are there to help you. So for me, whatever happens next week, I've won, because I've put myself in a position that I didn't dream I could 2 years ago. I honestly was too scared. And now I'm not scared. I'm not scared of whatever happens next week, because I know that my children can look to me and go, my mummy's so brave. Like, she's fought in a ring against somebody. They think I'm a superhero anyway, so it doesn't matter whatever happens, However, I do want to go in and win. That would be the cherry on the top. So yeah, hopefully, that would be the outcome. That would be the fairy tale outcome, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, whatever happens, just actually stepping in there next week, then I've won. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And it's really great, because everybody who's following you on Instagram loves this whole journey you've been on, and it's been fantastic to follow. And do you feel like with boxing, do you think it's something that can empower people? Is it something you think should be brought into, say, schools, because it's been such a great thing for you and so great for your mental health? Is it something that should be brought more into schools? Or I know that here Gem does a lot with empowering girls, building their confidence. Is that something you think that's important, that should be pushed more?
Absolutely. Like, honestly, if I had this in school, I think I would have been a completely different teenager, a completely different young adult. It empowers people to take charge of their own body and their own mind. And also, I just think with social media and bullying and body image, it's so rife at the moment. There are teenagers and young girls and even young boys, they're under so much pressure. So why not give them something, an outlet where they can escape that and they can feel stronger about themselves. They cannot think about anything else for that moment, because when you are boxing, you don't think about anything else. You just enjoy what you're doing at that time. I think what Gemma's doing with schools is amazing, and I wish that, you know, that there's more funding available. Hopefully, as the programs are so successful, there'll be more funding for that, because I think every school, we do tennis, you do athletics, you know, they do all these other sports, but why not boxing? It can be done safely. You know, there are head guards, there are you know, equipment to keep them safe, and it can be done in a safe environment. So let them have that. Empower the children to take charge of their own bodies and their own minds. Absolutely, definitely.
And such great fitness. I mean, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, as you'll know. Yeah, the fitness is another level. I joke with my brother because we've always been quite competitive. But since I started boxing, he's like, no, it's not fair because you're actually winning races, or, you know, you're much fitter. It's a different type of fitness. And yeah, and it's the mental fitness as well. You know, it keeps you mentally stable. I just find that previous to boxing, I would be quite up and down, but definitely boxing has just kept me a bit more level. And even on the days when I've really struggled to get here, mental health, external factors have really I've struggled to get here. Once I'm here, I just switch off and I zone out, and I just feel I can make more rational decisions about other areas of my life then.
Yeah.
You know, it just helps you clear your mind so that if you've got other things going on, you can make more informed choices. Because it allows you to just clear that space in your mind.
And you mentioned about your brother, and that's what's quite nice is you feature him quite heavily in your Instagram.
Yes.
Because he's quite a big supporter of you. You've been on the journey with him in a way.
Yeah.
And you've just recently told me you've sparred him as well. He's been helping you with your fight.
Yes. I very stupidly allowed him to put a head guard on and some boxing gloves and give me a good bashing. You know, what brother and sister don't do that? We've grown up wrestling. You know, we were kids that watched WWF and Power Rangers. It was always, let's fight, you know, and mucky fight around, and he was always the stronger one, always has been. However, I was always the tomboy, so I was always the one more willing to do it. But through lockdown, obviously at points we were allowed bubbles, so he was allowed in my bubble.
Yeah.
So there were times when I was just like, oh, I don't really know if what I'm doing is right, you know. Can I get to that level where I can actually put myself in a ring? Because the fitness side of it is really difficult. And he's been there to kind of push me along. He's been there to push me along and also give me that confidence of being hit and hitting. So it's been really good with him. He's also come here as well. So he's been part of the Protectors project that's in Llanrumney, Phoenix. So what that is a boxing program for men's mental health. So they do part boxing, and then at the end of the session they'll sit down and talk about their mental health. And again, you know, I think as a family, being able to talk about your mental health on social media, he's had people approach him and talk to him about their mental health. Men's suicide, he's lost 4 friends to suicide. So for him, doing the boxing just gave him a different circle of friends to be around, you know, and learn the skill of boxing. He's now looking, you know, to come and do it for fitness, not to fight, thankfully. So I don't have to worry about him. But yeah, no, it's been really good. He's been a really good help because he's not afraid to hit me. But it's done in a safe way. Yeah. So you know that, you know, I did give him a bloody nose though the other night.
Did you?
Yeah. So we were drilling things and drilling skills, and it's kind of putting what we learn here. So I practiced it at home with him, and we were drilling kind of uppercuts and a bit more in tighter work, and his guard was slightly off, so I saw the opportunity and I threw the uppercut, and he ended up with a bloody nose. So yeah, bless him. He was like, don't put that on Instagram. But yeah.
Not on Instagram, but now it's on
yeah, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, he's been a good help. He's been a good body bag.
And it's interesting what you're saying about, because obviously you are that little bit older, starting boxing, but it's quite nice that you can show people that you can juggle it all, because obviously you've got 2 kids, you know, a job, lots of commitments, but yet you've dedicated yourself to get fit, ready for this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd started when I was younger, because I think the fire that I've got for it, if I was younger, I would definitely want to go further with it. But I think for me, being realistic, this is the level for me. This is world champion level for me, because I've put myself in a position where I'm getting into a boxing ring. So for me, this is my title because it's something that I'm giving back to my children as well.
Yeah.
And they've both started martial arts now, so they're doing a bit of judo and kickboxing between them both because of what I've been doing. We'll get the pads out at home, we get the boxing gloves out, and they're just so proud of me. I come home from boxing and I'll go in and give them both a kiss goodnight because they're always in bed by the time I get back. Go and give them a kiss goodnight, and Olivia's like, let me feel your muscles, let me feel your muscles. So it's been lovely because it's just showing her that you can be strong in different ways. Women can look different ways as well, aesthetically. It's embracing all body types, and boxing does do that. There are different weight categories, there are different body types, there are different ages. You've got
definitely.
the likes of Ebony Bridges didn't start young.
No.
She started old, but look where she's got. Age isn't a reason for you not to start boxing. If you in your heart and your mind want it, you can achieve anything.
That's it.
And that is boxing. Boxing is 80% the mental game, You've got to believe in yourself. I think it helps having people believe in me. But you've got to believe in yourself as well, definitely.
Because if you look around, there's quite a few champions that are we've got in the 40s champions, proper world champions. So it does go to show that you can start that bit later and still achieve those heights. Yeah,
definitely. I think if you're doing it professionally, amazing. It's difficult when you're a mum. That's a full-time job in itself, mine are 8 and 5, and then obviously working as well. I support victims of crime, so quite a demanding job as well. So balancing it all, there are times when it's been really difficult, but this has been an escape. You escape from being a mum. You're not a mum when you're here. The boys in here don't care whether you're a mum. They don't care how old you are. You're just stood in a ring with them and you're sparring with them, which is great. Because you don't come in as a label, you don't come in as a mum, you don't come in as someone that's in their 30s, you just come in as someone that's willing to learn boxing. And I think there's that respect. If you're willing to learn, they're willing to share. And they're willing to hit you and
hit you just the same.
Yeah, so, respect.
So what are your plans going forward? So that was your goal, to get in the ring.
Yeah.
So do you want to just enjoy that, see where you go, or do you think you've got the bug and you want to keep going?
I have no idea. I keep saying that I think once I've done my fight that perhaps I'll keep it. I know I'll definitely keep with boxing because it helps me so much. I think next week, depending on how I feel when I'm in the ring, if I've got the bug for it, then more fights. Why not?
Yeah,
why not? I'm fit enough to do it, then why not? Whilst I'm at an age when I still can, and whilst I'm still enjoying it, and whilst I'm fit enough to, then why not? I like giving back, so I've enjoyed, I've met up with people that have just reached out to me on Instagram and done pad work with them. Met up with them, never met them before, gone to the gym and done pad work with them and introduced them to the sport and just given them that confidence. So, there's a lovely girl I've met on Instagram and she's now got boxing gloves and she goes to the gym and boxes on the boxing bag. And I just think that's part of boxing, give something back, isn't it? I've had people help me, the likes of Cordina, Ebony Bridges, Nicola Hopewell, they've all shared their advice and given me so much in the sport. So why not? If I can not continue with fighting, I'd like to help at least, even if that means volunteering in some way and sharing what I've learned and helping others, especially young girls and women, definitely. I feel like boxing brings out this community in people, doesn't it? It's like a real sort of community. It's like a hidden community that you don't know about unless you're in it. Like when I joined Instagram and I was just putting up my fitness bits, I didn't realise there was this whole boxing community of people that really do look out for each other and help each other and support each other. I have so many people that I've never met that feel like friends because they've helped give me advice and support. They send you videos, oh, I saw this on your video, just tweak this and you'll be like, you'll do so much better in your fight. It is really lovely because there's no ulterior motive to it. They can just see somebody's trying and they want to help. I've been really lucky. I've had a really nice community of people on my social media that have helped me and supported me, definitely.
So in terms of the actual boxing, are you a fan of watching the boxing?
Yes, but I never grew up watching boxing. So only since lockdown, I started watching boxing in lockdown. Obviously, Eddie Hearn did all his at-home ones in his garden. So yeah, started watching all the boxing through lockdown, but since I've started watching, like, there's not many fights I've missed, you know, especially the UK ones, because they're at a more reasonable time rather than like 4 a.m. But yeah, like I've been watching the boxing avidly throughout, watching what they do. It's probably part of the problem with my high expectations, because I'm watching professional boxers and then I come in the ring and I'm trying to transfer it. But it's good to have them as idols. Definitely. You know, and I'm following those sort of people on Instagram as well, and seeing how they train and how they fight, and I'm like, that's what I want to be. And I'm trying to remind myself that I am a complete novice. This is my first fight. But yeah, it's, you know, it's good to watch the fights as well, because you do learn and you can see things from it as well.
And who are your current favourite fighters then out there?
Terry Harper is probably one of my favourite fighters. I love her style, and especially, you know, like, she broke her wrist in the fight and continued to go further rounds and then stop the fights. Like, what a warrior. I love her strength and conditioning side of things, the science behind it as well. Yeah, I've spoken about it before, but the fact that she's so in tune with, like, her menstrual cycle and her body, her team are on board with that. I love her style. Savannah Marshall, just a naturally gifted boxer. I just think she could just put her in the ring with anyone, and she's just one of those boxers, isn't she? And I also love Ebony Bridges for what she's brought to the sport, the attention that she's brought on female boxers, and she's there for her fans and there for other female fighters. She will big you up and put you on a platform, and it doesn't take anything away from her. You know, she's all about, we've all got a space here and we can all be amazing. So I love that she's done that for the sport as well.
Definitely. And in terms of outside, so you mentioned about your job. What other interests do you have other than boxing outside?
Weirdly, not many other interests. Boxing's become, I've so absorbed in it. Yeah. So unfortunately, fitness and boxing have been my life. It's my children, you know, like spending time with my family. We love going out for walks. So I do quite a few hikes. I like cold water swimming.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, I've done some random cold water swimming at like 5 a.m. in the morning, and which was really good fun. So I like to go on adventures as well. My brother, you know, will go for hikes and things like that, Penavan and all sorts of places. But yeah, I like being outdoors. Like being outdoors with nature and kind of finding new places and exploring, jumping in some cold water if there's some cold water available, because why not?
As you do.
In Wales. We've got the weather for it, obviously.
You've got the choice.
We're used to it. We're hard to the weather.
Well, it's been absolutely great chatting to you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for next week, and I'm going to come along and support you.
Yay! Got the best support.
So, yeah, best of luck.
Thank
you. You know, what a journey, and it's so good that people have been able to share that with you, and I hope that they either tune in, see clips, or see what's on your Instagram, because is it being filmed?
I don't know, but if it is, I'll put a link up in my bio, definitely.
Because people would be interesting to see.
People are like, send us photos, send us videos. So yeah, hopefully it is. But if not, you know, the ones that are more local and can come and watch, hopefully they'll put it up on their live or whatever, so people can tune in as well.
Yep, and hopefully I'll catch up with a chat afterwards with you as well.
Yes, that'd be lovely. Thank you for your support as well.
Brilliant, thanks Charlene.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit like. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future content, and why not check out any other videos on the channel. You can follow Women's Fight News on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.